Aditi. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Aditi, it's quite an achievement to be selected for the Harvard Venture Tech Fellowship. How did you discover and apply for Harvard Venture Tech Fellowship, and any tips for teens who are eyeing similar opportunities?
I think before going into how I found out about this fellowship, I would like to go into why I decided to apply and why I got into this field. So, growing up in my school, we used to have this ATL lab, which is an adult tinkering lab in which you can innovate, explore, and each week we were given this one problem statement by our adult tinkering teacher, and for which we had to come up with an innovative solution. And in that class, I realized that so many of my peers, people, the teachers, or any of the guest speakers who used to come, they always everyone had an idea. Everyone had an idea which could be sculpted into a very successful solution. But what was different was how they thought or how they perceived the solution. And that really inspired me to go into these fellowships, join these programs, and get to know people. So that really changed my perspective on how I perceived things and where I saw myself going in future. So after that experience, I started to look for community clubs for students, like-minded people who I can collaborate and look for. And at that age, I believe I was 14. So I wasn't very expert in LinkedIn or applying it. I didn't have any idea. And so just going to local conferences, networking with people, my idea of expanding my networking and how I started applying these fellowships were basically like reaching out to people through cold emails. And I think that is something which people my age can do. I think we fear that people might reject us or they wouldn't be interested in having a call with us. But I believe that um, most of the people love to talk about their journey. And as a teenager, we should really make a use of this opportunity and reach out to as many as people possible to really ensure that all of our doubts and questions and where you want to go in life are answered before we go into that specific field. And just talking to peers and talking to your colleagues, I think it is really underrated. But I feel like if we just try to put ourselves out there, a lot of things come to us naturally. So I think that IIT Bombay's Eureka Junior Entrepreneurship Program was recommended by one of my friend, and it was an absolute incredible journey. I was selected till the finalist round. I had an opportunity to go to IIT Bombay, talk to so many incredible smart minds, present my idea. It was truly a very, very memorial experience at IIT Bombay. And for Harvard's Winter Fellowship, that was recommended by one of my networking groups which I joined. It was Skillzo Community, and basically they used to post a lot about different opportunities. So this was again by networking and joining these clubs, which are continuously sending you updates, continuously giving you the best competitions which are out there. So I think joining such groups are also very important, and also keeping an eye on websites. I feel like as this fellowship was also mentioned on Harvard University's website, I think just making sure that you're checking these universities' websites continuously. Most of these competitions are seasonal or they have like an expiry date. So you need to make sure that you're updated and keeping a check on such websites. I think that really helped me.
Any other networking platforms which can be beneficial to other people who are aspiring for such opportunities as you have? Because you are very updated. Normally, what teenagers do, they just think we have to go to school and after 12th, we will start working on it. But since that becomes too late,
Yeah, I definitely agree.
it's too
For
late.
future planning, I feel like having a background and a storyline is very important. So starting early is 100% more beneficial. Other platforms, definitely LinkedIn is a great platform. I feel start definitely in your senior or junior year.
You said about the adult tinkering labs. Does every school in India have that, or is it like only your school has it?
Most of the schools in my city have adopted the adult tinkering lab, and I hope that more and more schools would start doing this.
I read on your profile that only 5.5% have made it through. and 0.5%. And that's actually the most exciting and the challenging part of the selection process. Was there any moment during that program that left a big impact on you? A pitch, a mentor's advice, or anything which you think was life changing or it really stuck with you?
Applying to Harvard University's Winter Fellowship, we had two selection criteria. The first one was the essays, your statement of purpose, your area of interest, and like any recommendations, your resume. I think building resume from an early age is very important, as well as applying to other fellowships, usually like a resume or a CV or any video clips of your achievements are very important. I would recommend people starting building resumes from a younger age. The best part, or the part which stayed with me from the fellowship, was the advice which one of the venture capitalists gave us during his guest lecture. He said that everyone has a solution which they want to work on, but what matters the most is the people you execute it with and how you execute it. People may have millions of ideas, but how you actually present it, how you conduct it is what really matters. That really stayed with me and made me realize how much a team, and not only the planning process, but how we build onto that and actually make that project into reality matters more than just the idea. So that is something which really stayed with me. And I think having such a smaller cohort really made that fellowship very accessible, and we just had a lovely time. I had an opportunity to talk to one to so many of those participants having different stories, different backgrounds, and we were given several case studies, puzzles to solve. I think that was really unique, which you wouldn't see in different fellowships because of the participants and the volume of the groups. So I think this fellowship really inspired me, opened doors to several new ideas. I got to know so many different concepts of MPVs or fintech or SaaS, which I wasn't extremely knowledgeable about before. So I think it was an exceptional experience.
You also said having a storyline is really important, especially for teenagers who are in junior and senior years.
Yeah.
Would you elaborate more about it? Because the teens out there, they might not understand what that storyline means.
A storyline could be for maybe applying to college or building your self character. As we are growing, I think we should know what we like and we don't like. And especially in this digital age, we are so distracted by social media, so many opinions, and having a strong character is extremely important. So, by having a storyline, I mean that growing through your experiences and making your experiences part of you truly. So, an example of me could be while writing my first book, The Cosmic Connection in Science and Spirituality, for which I received a record as the youngest person to write on that topic. So, what really inspired me was I visited an orphanage and I visited old age home. And the one similarity which I saw in both of these places were how less financial literacy, especially the female or like the daughters or the grandmothers had coming to financial literacy. And that incident really shook me and it made me realize how many people in India, especially daughters, the coming up future generation, is not at all financially literate. Talking to a lot of widows which felt like they were dependent on their husband or someone, the money maker in the family, to handle the bank transfers or financial information. And that really pushed me to write books, to research about that. And I think these experiences, once you really reflect on them, they become a part of you. They make your character better. They make you want to work on it, act on it, and that's how I started to find my purpose, what the direction I wanted to lead. I realized that writing can be also as much as powerful. I mean, words can be extremely powerful as much as actions can be. So, through that, I wanted to give voice to voiceless and write about such stuff and finance, make sure that people my age are financially literate about budgeting and saving and credit.
Aditi, this is incredible. Like, how old are you?
I'm 16.
You're 16-year-old. And many 16-year-olds They would spend time in parties or going to picnics or going to beaches. But you mentioned you went to orphanages and you went to old age homes. How did that happen?
So one of my grandmothers, she used to knit uniforms for some orphanages and used to donate to a lot of children. And I was truly curious on how that process worked and how she went there and the happiness on their faces. And I just wanted to be in that environment. So it was just a normal day. I didn't think much of it. I went there, I spoke to some of those children, to some of those people my age, and I realized how much of the financial literacy was missing. And I think that financial literacy shouldn't be compromised in any way, shape, or form, as it is extremely crucial for us moving forward any part of life. So I think just experiences and going places and actually trying to say yes in your teenage age is very important, and just putting yourself out there.
You are a very impactful teen.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Looking at your projects like Life Patch and Safe World, they solve real world safety challenges. What process do you follow to identify such meaningful projects? And how can teens shift from building like cool technology towards building impactful solutions? Because when we look at India, we see there is a ton of potential, but we still end up using apps and infrastructure created by some other country.
I think we have an advantage here. I mean, we are the most populated country in the world. So we should really channel that together and work as a team. So, again, going back to finding problem statements or finding problems which actually need solution. For me, that was again through experiences. For SafeBolt, what inspired me was that one day I was sitting at home, the lights went out, and I just went to my room to check under the generators to make sure that everything was right. I heard some sparks. I stepped back and boom, it blasted open. The generator blasted open, but thankfully it did not do any harm. But that incident again really shook me. Talking to people, not just Googling, going online, but talking to people in real life, that's when you see problems. And those are the problems which need solutions. I researched on how I can prevent this. And that's what led me um, to find about how dangerous not only generators can be, but lithium ion batteries or EV batteries were. And as India is growing, absolutely growing in electric vehicles as well as in foreign countries, I believe there were reported 76 deaths in Gujarat just this January due to electric vehicles. So, and that number is only going to increase unless and until we act upon it. So through that research, I came to this problem statement. I went to my teacher at Adult Tinkering Lab. I told her, and thankfully, I'm extremely fortunate enough to have such incredible teachers who supported my endeavors. So for building this project, I needed a lot of instruments such as like Arduino Uno, breadboards, cable wires. I needed advice from a lot of engineers in order to create such project. And thankfully that was made available. That might not always be the case. So you need to talk to someone from your school or someone who is expert in that field in order to get those abilities. But I also believe that not all problems need a complex solution. I think teenagers these days think that every single thing has to be complex. But I believe that the solution lies in the basics. If you just go back to the basics, there will always be a solution. I wanted to make sure when coming to SafeVault, I wanted to make sure that my solution was not only scalable, but also eco-friendly, budget-friendly, especially in India. It should be affordable for everyone, as well as it should be creative, attractive, something that the audience would actually like. So coming to problems, we need to make sure of what audience we are targeting, for what people we are building, and making sure that we are putting all of those points together and then creating a solution. So for me, SafeVault, it is basically a thermistor sensor which was going to be placed beside the EV lithium ion battery, which would send real time alerts to the driver through an app or would be displayed on the electric vehicle screen. And so, whenever there is any overheating due to heat, especially in Delhi, the heat is extremely a lot, and also due to overcharging. Um, so these issues mostly lead to overheating of batteries. And so whenever the temperature rises after a certain temperature, it would send real time alerts to that driver. Even if the battery implodes, there would be like a silicon case. Silicon has a lot of flexibility and heat resistant properties, so that silicon would make sure that the battery is intact and the pieces would not fly out or any injuries would still be sustained. So this project has two entryways which would protect the person, the driver, and create a sense of security in the minds of people owning electric vehicles. And this is a very simple project, and I think that because of its budget friendliness, it can be implemented. And I hope to continue this project and build it into something very much bigger.
You have a prototype. Can you show it?
I do have the initial prototype, but I do not have the final model which we made. This is what I did at pre-seeding stage when I was pitching that to my teachers. So this is a rough idea. So this isn't connected. So this is a separate breadboard which is connected to a 5K buzzer. This is just at a pre-seeding area. So this is a mini Arduino Uno attached to a cable. This cable would be attached to a cord, which would, so the code would indicate the temperature levels and send alerts to the Arduino Uno to send alerts to the buzzer, which would be alerted by thermostat. Whenever the temperature rises beyond a certain limit, which is harmful, the buzzer would start buzzing and would give alert to the driver. So this was our initial idea, to have a buzzer beside the driver, but we feel like that might be too alarming. That might disturb the driver, and that could actually lead to more accidents. So we are switching to a digital platform or digital screen.
That would be much better. As a driver, if you are driving and you see that line, oh, I need to do some action. That's much better one.
Exactly. So this was what I made at pre-seeding stage, pitching to my teachers. This is an extremely basic idea which anyone can make at home. But as I said, you just need an idea, and you need basics which back that idea, and ideas which actually need to be solved, and not just ideas or solutions which are similar to which have been given or which have been already prototyped.
I'm sure in future I will see you in building some very big safe technologies, or maybe building a car of your own.
I would love to.
What you pointed out is that just having an idea is not important. Being able to communicate that idea is equally important, and having a team of impactful people who can help you implement that idea and make it a reality.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a very key point. Often teens, they feel the pressure of having the whole future planned out, because we ask them, what do you want to be? As early as 8th, 7th, we start asking, do you want to be a doctor? You want to be an engineer? But looking at your experience, I see that you have technology, you have finance, you talked about financial literacy, then you talked about diplomacy. So you are kind of a mixture of so many things. Your experience looks vast. Looking at your own experience and the world around you, what are some of the downsides that you see to being forced to choose one path so early on? And that's honestly parents and maybe the school education system that trains people to do that. And what are some benefits of exploring different interests, even if they seem unrelated? Like in your case, we see diplomacy, we see finance, we see science, and we see technology, and that two core ones, not superficial ones. What's your advice to teens?
So I think in India, especially in India, where pressure to choose a stream, it starts with arts, commerce, and science. I think that's where children really they feel a need to pick one stream, but I don't think that's the case. A lot of programs have integrated programs with dual degrees and so many different minors and majors nowadays. So I feel like there is ample of opportunities to mix and try different combinations. So for me, I am extremely passionate about finance, tech, economics, social impact. I think all of these combined together could definitely make a much better solution, such as social impact can be a support to people, finance could be a way to literate people, and economic could lead to scalability. So all of these combined together can actually make a bigger impact than focusing on a specific solution or specific problem. So for me, growing up, that was never my case because my grandfather, both of my grandparents are authors. My grandfather used to write a lot of scientific articles or books on anatomy, humans, and exploring the human vast systems, pharmacology. And my grandmother was more into spirituality and Gita and spiritual texts. So growing up, seeing that mix really made me curious to see if there was any interconnection between them. So from early age on, I started to mix and match different subjects, different patterns, and I came to know that there is always a silver lining. There is always a thread which joins both of or even the opposite subjects together, and something much more meaningful can be made. So when I was exploring science and spirituality, I even came to know that a lot of ancient Indian texts had scientific backgrounds, which inspired so many of scientists to build formulas and amplify solutions. So I think if we try to mix and match, it could actually lead us to somewhere which we might enjoy, which is different from others, which is unique, which is actually meaningful. So please do not be afraid to try these things out. um, do what makes you curious, do what makes you happy, do what makes you inspired to do it every single day. I think that really helps you go towards that success or achieve what you're planning.
It's so important for young people to hear that it's okay to explore. And you're the biggest example right in front. And I
Yeah.
heard that you also draft policies. For our viewers, would you simplify what does drafting a policy mean?
So drafting a policy was an experience I had when I was doing a program with United Nations. One of my friends is a United delegate, is a youth delegate at United Nations of Italy, and there was a very exciting initiation coming up. Lot of people fighting for diplomacy or fighting for economic child welfare, climate change. So as through networking, I knew her. She reached out to me and she gave me this incredible opportunity to be part of um, this booklet which we created with a lot of ideas, lot of thoughts, questions, solutions from all over the world, with what they might think could be the next law, what they might think could be actually an impactful law or a policy which should be made. I had an opportunity to submit my own thoughts on how climate change or economic disruptions actually really destroy a child's education, thinking, and prosperity. We didn't exactly draft policies, we gave ideas from which the policies were going to be drafted. So thankfully, our ideas or some of our ideas would be accepted or challenged in that assessment.
So again, networking is really, really important if you want more opportunities. A big congratulations for the National Excellence Award. It's a big deal. So can you tell us more about what it recognized? In which grade are you now, Aditi?
I'm in 11th grade. I'm going to be in 12th grade.
Wow. I see your bright future right front of my eyes. You're doing so many things at this age.
Yeah, I did so many things in different criteria. The National Icon Award given by the Defense Minister of India and the Bharat News was given to me in the recognition of publishing 7 books, being a national record holder for one of those books, and writing articles, journals, publishing in different magazines, in newspapers, which received a great number of comments and audience activism for volunteering and shadowing works with doctors, doing the clinical expansion of the economical expenses these hospitals made, or doing rallies on plastic management and save the earth. So all of this led to my recognition by a lot of my mentors, which really motivated me to apply for this prestigious award. And thankfully, I was selected as a nominee. I had an opportunity to go to Delhi, meet incredible people, several politicians, great minds, lot of awardees with different criterias, different backgrounds for social work, for impactful projects, for acting, so many different criteria, so many people with stories, impactful stories. And it was just an incredible opportunity to talk to such people and be awarded this award. And I couldn't be more grateful.
So is this an annual award or is it like once in a lifetime? How does it happen? Is it National Icon Award? Is it given every year to impactful kids like who make a difference?
I think it is given twice a year, though I will have to check with the organizers. But when I applied, it was given twice a year. And the criteria was entrepreneurship, writing, acting, and I think the criteria was humanities and social impact.
So you must have met so many other kids who have created a large amount of impact.
I saw a lot of people in their 20s and 30s, but there were very less people my age, which was a bit disappointing.
Is it like you nominate yourself or somebody else has to nominate you?
I did have to submit a recommendation, and one of my mentors told me to apply, but I had to fill in the application form myself.
That's really amazing. Yeah. It's so inspiring to even talk to you. And I'm happy you are recognized for your contributions.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Truly, it's my pleasure.
You are an inspiration for so many other people. I'm sure you're going to impact much more lives than you think you are doing currently.
Thank you so
You have
much.
been writing articles also. You said you have been writing in science journals also. Where do you get this inspiration? Like, what type of articles are you writing on?
I used to write articles on financial literacy. That was a big subject which I focused on, or societal pressures, societal expectations, exploring social impact, and basically human behavior. That was one of my favorite subjects. Then writing about India and how it was growing as one of those top countries where you could start a startup, including like India, China, and USA, and basically exploring economics, finance, and social impact through my articles.
What are you planning to do after 12th?
I'm still a bit confused, but I think going into finance, economics, or rather going into economics would be very much beneficial for me, as I'm someone who is also interested in diplomacy, finance, and making projects, going to places, meeting people, making impact. So I think economics is the best choice for me, but I'm keeping engineering and finance as the second option.
If there is one advice that you can give out to the teens who have no clue where to start, or they think they're too young to start anything, what would that advice be?
So, my motto in life is live your life to the fullest. Pick three things which make you happy. Don't say no. Make sure that you make the most of your experience. Make sure that you reflect, maybe on a journal, maybe talk to someone, writing it down, saying it out loud, but reflecting on experiences.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Now it's time for our rapid fire round. One word, one sentence, and no overthinking.
All right.
What's the one book you think every teen should read?
Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson, 100%.
Nice. If you could have dinner with any scientist, or past, present, or future, who would it be?
I think it would be Hedy Lamar. I'm not saying if I'm saying her name right. She was a 90s actress as well as scientist who invented Wi-Fi. She was known for her beauty and she was a very famous actress, but her work in her work in finding and researching about Wi-Fi, I believe so, was really underrated. So I would love to have a dinner with her, ask her questions and on how she navigated these two different worlds, which are so opposite, but yet creating such an impact.
If you had a time machine, would you go to the past or future?
Wow, that's a tough one. I would be much more interested in going to past and just retrailing my path and living everything again.
Nice. If you could solve one global problem with technology, what would it be?
It would be child education and climate change.
So, what would you do if you had all the money in the world?
That's a tough one.
It's all the money at your disposal. At 16-year-old Aditi, what would she do?
She would definitely travel the world and get to know every single culture she can. She would go to Jerusalem, Athens, these very culturally rich places, understand their cultures, get to know people, try every exciting food, and just live life. But I would also focus on carbon credit work, energy saving, clean energy, building windmills, and trying to focus on the sustainable ecological projects, not just invest in digital projects. I would prefer investing more into ecologically balanced projects more than digital. Or I would definitely buy a big library with all the ancient Indian texts, all the books which are hidden from us.
I also love libraries and books, and it's a treasure trove. If you can find all that, that's a very good use of your money.
Yes, that is something I would do. Sure.
Yeah, I have a question from the teenager. She asked that how much time did it take you to reach to the level that you are now? When did you start?
I started in ninth grade. I started with just a small essay competition. I wrote about COVID-19, and I think I received third prize, which really motivated me to start writing. So everything started, my journey started by writing initially. I used to write short stories, and soon it evolved into journaling, then books, writing stories and articles, publishing. So just starting small and slowly growing it out. And then through writing, projects, meeting people, that's when I was exposed to finance and these fields. And so picking a niche, I think a niche is very important when you're starting early. So don't start too early, enjoy your childhood, but do what makes you happy. And for me, that was writing.
And you also said in 1 month you sold 100 books. How did you do that?
It was marketing, having being in such groups, being on Discord servers. I could post about these books, and I had an incredible community of people who were interested in those subjects and were willing to buy. And I also made sure that the prices weren't too high and it was affordable for everyone, my friends, my family. I didn't write books for it to like to earn money or for any economical reasons, but it was rather to because love of my I really love writing, and I just wanted to put myself out there and my thoughts and my ideas, and something that I wish to leave as a legacy in the future, that my books will always be there.
Thank you so much for being here with us. And I am sure you are going to inspire tons of more, tons kids, because you gave away a treasure trove of knowledge how important networking is, how important communication is, how important a team is, and how important it is to follow your passion early on. Don't wait too long. Ninth is a good start because soon
I'm
you're
definitely.
starting college. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. I thank you so much for inviting me. So that's what I would recommend.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for having me.